Okay, she told you about the two families, the Smileys and the Tylers. None of the outbuildings were here. The museum built all of these because we rent the property. And of course, as she told you, 1876 is when the railroad came through here. During the Civil War, the railroad only went to Yuma, Arizona. These are called cultivators, and they were actually pulled by a horse or a mule. The women inside, of course, had their own jobs. Keep the house clean, take this in and try to sell it. If you lived in an apartment, this would work because all you these holes, and of course you use it like a plunger.
That's cool.
The inside, stucco for the outside. So this is what the house is built out of. This is called a 14-inch Adobe Brick. It weighs about 60 pounds, which is more than you weigh. And what's it made out of? Make it into a mud, you put it in a form, sit it out in the sun. When the water evaporates, you have, yes, Adobe gets, like I say, I don't know. Come on in. Again, this building was built by the museum. It's not a real blacksmith shop, but local people not usable anymore or obsolete, or they replaced them with some power. A lot of the early things that the farmers used, the ranchers used, and even so we have all of that in here. This tool, you sit on it like a bike. You want to sit up there? Like you're going to ride a bike? You have a bike? Are you too little?
Yeah.
You have a bike? All right, just sit on it like a bike. And this is what you would do, okay? You see this pedal down here? Now you're too little, but you would pedal this, and as you pedal it, this wheel begins to go around. This is called a grinding stone. And then whatever tool you're sharpening, what you would do is you would put it right here, and that would sharpen your tool. Okay? And you know what happens when two things rub together? What happens when two things rub together? They get hot, don't they?
Yeah.
So what the blacksmith did is he put this can full of water. The water drips down, keeps them cool. You know what these are? Shoes for horses. These are called horseshoes. And horseshoes are nailed onto their horses' hooves. You think we would like to have our shoes nailed on? Say no. It would hurt us, right? But horses' hooves are pain, okay? The two things, and what this does is the blacksmith makes these round rings. These go on wooden wagon wheels. How big do I make these, or how small do I make these? And so that's what this is. That's the only thing this is used for, is to make different sizes of rings. Okay? You know what this is? This is a branding iron. You know what they do with it?
No.
Well, listen, in fact, they still do this. Ranchers have how it belongs to. So this is what they do. This is going to be the Circle O Ranch. I'm going to take this out to my ranch. I'm going to put it in a hot fire. I'm going to get it hot. I'm going to rope a young cow or a young horse. I'm going to tie them down, and I'm going to stick this to their backside, and I'm going to burn a Circle O in their skin. From then on, everybody's going to know who that animal belongs to. This is called a forge, okay? And what I want to do is, horses, guess what? They have different sizes of feet like we'd have. So what the blacksmith had to do was to make this shoe fit the horse, right? So the only way he could do that is by building a fire. Where is it? I use these, that's right. He's going to build a fire here, and he's going to use this black rock. You know what this black rock's called?
Coal.
Coal, you got it. And so the only way I can change the shape of this is by heating it very, very hot. Now this thing also has, this thing is called a bellows. When I crank this, it blows air onto my fire, makes the fire hotter. So I get this red hot, and then I bring it over here, and this is the sound that the blacksmith makes. He is constantly heating the metal and shaping it. And this thing that I'm beating on over here, this is called an anvil. Okay?
So then how does that change it?
Well, by pounding on it. You have to pound it for a different shape and a different size. Let's see, where is it? Something that looks like this. This is what I would do. I would get this really, really hot, and then I would bring it over here. Come over here so you can see. And then I would lay it right here on this, like this. You see that? And then I would pound it like this, and I would pound it like that, and I would shape it so that it was this shape. You can do it is by making that metal red hot. Okay? And what that does, that you can pound on it and make it into a different shape. Okay?
Too big and then.
Well, it doesn't get much bigger than that. It just gets hot.
But what if for some reason it does?
Well, it wouldn't get, because it's contained right here under this. This is called a grid, and it stays under here. So you don't need a really big, huge fire. And what this does, remember what this was called? It was called a bellows. And you crank this, it blows air onto the fire and makes it hot.
Yeah.
More air, the hotter the fire. Okay? They're used on the wheels. So that's that gauge that we used, okay? And this is one of our machines that really changed farming. This machine will actually plant 2 rows of corn at the same time. You get to sit up there in that seat. This is your brake. You need a big brake because you're going to have 2 horses here. It's going to pull it through the field. This thing right here, it's going to make a little furrow or a little groove in the ground. Your corn seeds are in here, they drop off in here, and then the wheel covers it up. So you can plant 2 rows of corn at the same time. And over here we have, these are called, along the road, the railroad, you always have a train that's going on a track, and if they want to switch it,
I know where.
they just turn this and they turn this, and it will switch that train to a different track.
What if they like yes?
Well, in the old days, people, your dad will understand why. Because this is a manure spread.
Yeah.
This is our submarine. You know what a submarine is?
Yeah.
What?
It goes underwater.
That's right. But you know why? Because sub means under, marine means water. So the railroad, the railroad built these, and here's what they did. Okay, they built the sides out of metal, the top out of metal, and then look, they ran water up to the top, so that when you're sleeping inside, you're sleeping under the water. That's why they call them submarines. And then they put this material on the side called burlap. It stays wet all the time. When the wind blows through the wet burlap, it causes evaporation. It didn't have electricity. They removed them all. Railroad removed them all with an air conditioner. In fact, they're called swamp coolers. And then what's called the swamp cooler. Okay? Now these are called plows. You remember that push plow that was over there? Well, these were pulled by horses or mules. Which you probably didn't. But he actually, is called the Whittier Ranch. So what they want to do is they want to rebuild the water tower, and then when they get it rebuilt, they'll set it back up on that tower. You ever pumped water out of the ground? Well, come on, I'll show you. They had to pump water out of the ground. That's where water comes from, out of the ground. It's turned on like we do today. So what you have to do is called a pump. And you become the pumper. What you do is you grab a hold of this with your hand, and you go up and down. Hard. There you go. Keep going. Keep going. Good job. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, keep going. It's hard work. Ah, there you go. Yep, that's where they got their water.
Wait, is this still a school?
This is a school. We're gonna you want to sit, and you can even write on the slate boards. Can you know how to write your name? You want to draw a picture? Go ahead. Add the history. This schoolhouse was built in 1909 by the Southern Pacific Railroad.
Oh,
And this
you
is
mean like
this is called a one-room schoolhouse, okay? Because right now, over there, that first row, those would be kindergartners. And then the second row would be first graders. The third row would be second graders. And then this would be a mix. And then in 1999, it was moved here. Over there, then moving it on that wall right there. You see the flag behind 5 stars? Because this flag was a 1901 flag. And there was only 45 states. Flags were very expensive. Okay?
Wait, did you say this?
It was built in 1916. It was the only high school in the valley until 1938. And then over here we have Palm Springs High School. The population grows. Right? Now, you know, they let you write on these. Okay? But pretty soon, paper, they got paper. Then, people keep moving these things. There's a little bottle of ink, and it sits right here in this hole. And then you have a pen that you stick in the ink, and that's what you write with. There's one back here in this case, so you can see it right back here. You see these little bottles? And then that red handle thing there, that's the pen that you wrote with. Okay? In fact, you remember earlier, come here.
And we still come here today.
That water thing, that water pump out there, we pump the water into this, and then you pour it into here. And then if you wanted to drink the water, you would take a cup like this, and you open this up, and that's the water.
But is that clean water?
That's the water that you could not, no it's not, but it would have been. By the way, this pulls down and separates the 2 rooms. This is actually a 2-room schoolhouse. There. Can you see the wiggly windows? See them? Look back and forth. You see the windows over there? You see how some of them kind of wiggle? Well, those are the original windows because in 1909, and then I'm going to help you do this. You see this handle right here? We're going to get a hold of it and we're going to pull it straight down. Ready? Oh, let it go. Hear that bell? That's the school bell. Now you know at your school, when the bell rings, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to come inside, right? Smile. Right in. Thank you. And come over here. Some facts about the date. You know what native plants are? Have you ever heard that word native? A native plant is one that grew here. That's no one. They grew here before people got here. Okay, they're here from the Mideast. Okay. Algeria, Morocco, that's where our date palms come from. This is the story of our dates, okay? The date industry started about 1900. The farmers here needed a crop, and so what they did is they brought over something called an offshoot. This is a mother tree. She grows what we call an offshoot. You can call it the baby if you want. And what you do is you cut this baby off and you plant it. Okay? And guess what? This is going to be exactly like that one. Like you kind of look like your dad, right? Well, this is going to be what's called a female deglet noor. A deglet noor is a type of date. So about 5 years later, she's going to produce these little things called buds. And then the male tree produces something called pollen. It looks like this, that box.
Yeah.
So what they do is they put that pollen in this yellow can here, and then they puff it onto those blossoms. And then those blossoms turn into dates. Have you ever eaten a date before?
Yeah.
Have you? You like dates? Tie them to the stronger branches. And then the last thing they do is, this is a bunch of dates. They put this paper around them. That paper protects them from moisture and from birds and insects. Now the deglet knower is called a hard date, so they can cut off that whole bunch, and they put it in a big thing like this called a lug, and then they take this to a packing shed. And then at the packing shed, your dad needs to take his shield so that you can have a sample of the jewel. And they knock the offshoot off. And over here you can see, this is what the offshoot looks like. It's just a little tree, isn't it? And you know what? You see this container here?
Is it from the house?
It's made. This is made from the palm trees. But what they did is, you don't know where the Mideast is, and what they had to do. There's a place called Algeria, right here. That's that container. They're putting the offshoots on here in Algeria, and then over here they're unloading them in the desert. Sometimes as many as 100,000 offshoots at a time. Okay? Crystals, and they have things that you can actually put in your cereal. Major religions such as the Quran, the Torah, and of course the Holy Bible. And the reason for that started, and that's where the date palms are from. The honey, what they did, something that I didn't say about seeds. You know, dates have seeds. Wouldn't it have been easier to bring the seed? Well, got a bunch of these honey dates, but they all look big. And if you look up there, you can see the thorns. See right up? Yeah. Yep.
No?
Yeah.
The
And
one on the side?
they would probably cut that off earlier. It wouldn't have to be that big. They say they're about